You're listening to the Loving Your Own Soul podcast, and I'm your host, Britt Olson. Guided by my own intuition, my intention is to deliver genuine conversations centered around health and wellness, spirituality, self-expression, and culture. In this space, I will provide you with real-life stories, theories, and inspiring perspectives to help you uncover and tap into your own true potential. I'm so grateful you've chosen to tune in with me on this mindful exploration to living a more fluid life through a deeper connection to the soul. Now let's dive into today's journey. I'm Britt Olson, your podcast host and holistic wellness coach, here for the purpose of guiding you to tap into your own true potential. And for those of you who may be new around here or new to me, when I talk about wellness or tapping into your true potential, I really believe that it starts from within. We really can't shift our external realities until we shift our internal conditions. And these shifts really take so many shapes and sizes, but I have personally found that really changing your lifestyle around food is what really propels you into that next level of life that you've been trying to get to. And then all the other healing modalities and practices and shifts really just fall into alignment so much faster than you would have ever dreamed. So while yoga is kind of like the catalyst to spirituality for many, I really truly believe that food and your lifestyle is kind of the catalyst to a deeper awakening here in this lifetime. And for me, I firmly believe in a plant-based and intuitive lifestyle simply because there's so much flexibility available to you as long as you are focused on consuming as many whole foods from the earth. And it really just makes things so much less complicated than we've allowed them to get over the years, and really takes us back to the ancientness of what our human bodies once knew to be true. With that though, speaking of food, today on the podcast, I am so thrilled to bring on Chara and Vanessa, two friends and co-founders of the newest brand, Out of the Ordinary, who will be joining us today from Vancouver, Canada, which as travel restrictions continue to open back up and spring blooms, I highly recommend that part of the world if anyone is looking to take a trip, because it is so beautiful. But what's also beautiful is this oatmeal brand that these two incredible ladies have created. Their products are not only delicious, they are gluten-free, vegan, high in fiber, high in protein, low in sugar, made with organic ingredients, and they also have the most beautiful packaging I've ever seen on a food product. I actually ordered some after our interview. I had actually intended to order it ahead of time before our interview, but apparently I never checked out when doing so. So I don't know if that ever happens to anyone. It seems to happen to me kind of frequently. But however, since then, I've since tried both their Cacao Coconut and Blueberry Cinnamon flavors. And I kid you not, these truly taste like what I've always wanted oatmeal to taste like. Dan, my husband, he even said, he was like, I don't think I've ever seen you get so excited over a bowl of oatmeal before. And it's so true. These ladies, Chara and Vanessa, have truly they nailed it times a million. I've made both like the fresh, hot oatmeal bowl with fruit. I've done it overnight oat style. Even made some super yummy 3-ingredient banana oat cookies with the cacao coconut flavor, and everything is just so good. I mean, these products, Out of the Ordinary, truly out of this world. And in appreciation of all of you, you can actually grab 15% off of your Out of the Ordinary order by using code Loving Your Own Soul at checkout. So that is Loving Your Own Soul in all capitals, and the link to order is in the show notes for 15% off. One last thing before we jump into today's episode with Chara and Vanessa, because it is such a good one, but I did just want to remind you all of our March giveaway that's happening this entire month. For the month of March, I will be giving away one of my moon cycle oracle card readings. And this reading goes into guidance as to where your intentions may want to be focused in the next cycles, where you'll see your most growth, what's coming into fruition, what you're letting go of, and maybe an area that you may want to lean into as well. These readings are so fun and so insightful. I just did mine with the latest new moon in Pisces that just occurred this past Saturday, and literally they just blow me away every time. It's such an accurate reading. They're so fun. So anyway, to enter for a chance to win one of my moon cycle oracle card readings for the month of March, all you have to do is subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, take a screenshot for proof that you entered, and then DM it to me on Instagram at lovingyourownsoul, or you can also send me an email with your proof, lovingyourownsoul@gmail.com. And then, of course, if you share the podcast or your favorite episode on Facebook or Instagram, do be sure to tag me or take another screenshot so that you can get an extra entry. Now, if you've previously entered a giveaway, you have to re-enter for the month of March to be considered. But when you re-enter, just go ahead and shout out one of our guests. Tell us what you like the most about the episode, what you learned, your favorite conversation. Your reviews don't have to be about the overall podcast. You can definitely just shout out our incredible guests and give them some love too. And the winner will be drawn and announced on April 1st, and then the giveaway will restart for the month of April. So this is really just my way of thanking you for all of your support and love of the podcast, but also to further support our wonderful guests as well, because it's really not easy putting yourself out there. So if you are reviewing a podcast, whether it's mine or someone else's, do be sure to also shout out the guests, name your favorite episode or piece of their story that helped you the most. I know firsthand just how much it really means when you learn that your own story, experience, or vulnerable moment made a positive impact on someone else's life. It's so cool. Such a fun time that we live in. But anyway, to that point, let's go ahead and jump into today's wonderful conversation with Chara and Vanessa. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you both on here today and chat all about your new venture.
Thank you. We honestly have been loving doing podcasts. Like, it's so nice in a time like this to just sit down and have like real conversations and connect online, which is, it's a blessing right now.
Mm-hmm. Totally. It's so fun, especially just, obviously a lot has taken place in the last year, but this virtual world, it's just really kind of exciting. I like the reach and the connections and the conversations that are able to be held. So super grateful to have both of you on here today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into it, I'm so excited to chat all about your newest brand, of the Ordinary, but just to give our listeners kind of a little bit of a backstory on the two of you before you maybe became business partners and co-founders. Would love to know just a little bit about each of you.
Yeah. Sure. So my background is in business. So I have my BBA. Not that that really means too much, let's be honest, but so I worked for my dad's company quite a bit. And then my stepmom and we started a fashion company. So she was a designer. I did some of the business sides of things. We did that for a few years, and yeah, it was really good. And it just taught me so much, to be honest. It's just so invaluable. Then I moved to London for a bit. I ended up having some health struggles. So I kind of took a break from, honestly, life in general for like 2 years. And then as I was getting better, Chara approached me and with this idea, and kind of, the rest is history.
Yeah. And I'm Chara. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and I am still working for the Almost 30 podcast. But prior to COVID, I was traveling with them throughout the States often. And when I was working with my clients, I always found that everyone had the same struggle. It was that they had a very busy lifestyle, but they had like this idea that they wanted to, or like goal, I should say, to eat clean and eat healthy and stay on top of their wellness goals. But the two didn't match up. So they'd often find themselves compromising their health standards by grabbing a muffin or, something that was quick and easy that didn't necessarily like leave them feeling very good, or really cause them to have like these huge sugar crashes that they would have to leave their work and go get another muffin or go get something else to kind of sustain them. And we're like, if you have like a busy schedule and now you're having to interrupt your mornings to go get something else so you can feel normal, like this isn't, there's got to be a better answer for this. So I started creating this little oatmeal blend with like flax and chia and protein and superfoods and bringing it with me to the airports as I was traveling, because I'm vegan and very health conscious, of course. And I found that wherever I went, I could always find hot water, and I would add it to this mixture of oats. And then I would be able to eat it on the plane or before I board. And then I would be satiated and just like have good energy and just be able to be like fueled and focused throughout traveling. And then I would do this at home, of course, too. So I started posting it on my stories, and just so much amazing feedback of people saying like, wow, this is what needs to happen. Like this oatmeal industry, like the breakfast industry, needs a disruption where we can have like a low sugar option for people who have a really, really busy lifestyle. So I was kind of like playing with this idea. I sat on it for a little while. And then in January, I was like, I really I feel like this is something that we need to move forward with. So I called up Vanessa, and we thought about it, and we did some surveys and some lot of research on it to see is this viable? And we loved the idea. And then COVID hit, and we decided to take a step back and be like, okay, is this a good time to launch a business right now? Is this a smart move? So we took about a month off to really think about it. And then both our hours from our other jobs had been cut. And we're like, okay, this is something that, we can't sleep at night. We need to move forward with this. So we got together and really started taking it seriously in about May. And then July became incorporated. And then our first product went out for sale in October and shipped in November. And now we're here.
Wow. Amazing. I love that so much. It's crazy too how when you kind of fall into that flow with a business or a brand or product, the way it's almost as if time doesn't quite exist, because to have come up with the idea, literally a year ago, and for it to now have launched a few months ago is just absolutely incredible. So kudos to the two of you. It's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we've heard that that's pretty fast.
Yeah.
It has
we thought it was slow.
Yeah, we thought it was slow. we didn't necessarily think it was moving that fast, but to think about, from an idea to actually being in people's hands, all throughout Canada and the US is pretty crazy.
And producing it on a mass, not that we're producing it in large amounts right now, but we have a co-packer. So we're not just doing, in our kitchen and producing dozens here and there. We're actually, doing rounds of, thousands of, production runs. And to have that. And then just recipe testing alone was, months. We started in February 2020. And that was a direction of its own. It's just,
there's a long time. With recipe development, it's really interesting because we had this vision of eventually we wanted to do no sugar oatmeal and use monk fruit. But with the Canadian, American border, there were some legalities around getting monk fruit over here. And then also it would drive the price up so much that people wouldn't be able to afford it. And we're like, okay, this is totally defeating the purpose. So we're like, let's kind of, meet in the middle and add a little bit of coconut sugar, it's still really, really nutrient dense. There's fiber, there's some minerals and nutrients in there, but we only had there's only 3 to 4 grams per flavor, which is huge because a lot of our competitors have up to 13 grams of sugar.
18
even. And then they don't have the flax and the chia. So that means that they're not really getting satiated. So within our studies, we found that most people would have to have 2 packs of our competitors' oatmeal, which then you're getting up into the 20 plus grams of sugar first thing in the morning, which is resulting in that sugar crash. So it was kind of interesting navigating which ingredients we could use that would fit our budget, but still produce the our dream product that we wanted to come out with, what the idea was built on.
And to taste great. Because that was, you can have something that was super healthy and super convenient, but if it didn't taste great, somebody might try it, they might be like, oh, okay, it's okay, but they're not going to buy it again. And that's just proven time and time again. So we knew if we were going to disrupt the whole entire, breakfast convenient category, it had to be convenient, healthy, and tasty. And that's the feedback that we've gotten from everybody so far, which we're so thrilled about.
That's so huge. Convenient, healthy, and tasty. I love that. It's so funny too, because I remember the old days, I don't know, they might still exist, but the instant oatmeal packs that were just filled with sugar. And I remember, I think in college eating them. And you could even just smell it too in a workplace. If somebody made that maple cinnamon flavored one, it was just it makes my stomach turn just thinking about it. So kudos to the two of you. What was that process like? I'm sure it was probably interesting with the recipe testing and trying to actually nail down a product that would hold shelf life, but also still taste great and everything like that. Did you even learn, like, I don't know, I guess this could kind of go both ways, but in understanding with a company of the companies out there who do make things so sweet, or maybe putting ingredients in there that they don't need to? Or did you also kind of flip side, maybe learn like, oh, wow, it is harder to develop an all natural, actually healthy product without all the junk in it?
Yeah. I mean, it was very apparent quickly why these companies do that. And, we did have some pushback about people being like, it is a little bit more of a premium price. And 100% it is, because the ingredients that we use are premium. And if we could even go a step up and we would just price ourselves right out of the market. But yeah, these companies, they use fillers and, those chemicals are in artificial flavoring and whatnot. And yeah, you can get it for, just over $1, maybe a portion or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But then you're doubling it, first of all. And secondly, like, you're not feeling good. It's not healthy and it tastes fake. Not to beat up on competitors by any means, but yeah, it became very apparent when we wanted to like go out of the gate and be like, hey, monk fruit, like this and this, like have even more chia, more flax. And it's like, well, we can't. Literally, we just can't.
Yeah. Even we had like co-packer this week being like, do you know if you use just dried berries, it would be like a lot cheaper than using freeze-dried? Like, of course we know. Yeah. But like that totally defeats the purpose of having like these like abundance of nutrients and antioxidants and the taste. Like, so like each ingredient was really, really methodically thought out. And like there's a reason, like each ingredient in our product serves a purpose. So it's been interesting with people, like trying to like, and I think we've done a good job at being able to keep our idea of the product, but be able to bring a price that, is affordable. I think like it's $5.99 in the States, and $6 for, if you think of like a full breakfast. Sorry, in Canada it's $5.99. In the States it's a little bit cheaper. Just think about how much you pay for a latte, like that's upward like $6, $7, $8, and like this is $6, like a full meal that's going to keep you full for hours. So it is going to be a little bit about, this is kind of going into like the challenges we face. It is going to be a little bit about like educating our consumers, but we really are like helping people. Like we've had moms message us and say like, thank goodness for your oats, because like I was running around with kids all day and I was so hungry, and just to add water and eat a healthy breakfast in 10 minutes saved my day. And we're like, our job is done. That's all we've ever wanted to do, is just like make healthy eating more attainable for people out there living their busy lives.
I love that so much. So grateful for it, especially as someone who used to travel before 2020 all the time for work and everything like that. And it was almost just kind of like a sacrifice of like, well, I know my stomach is going to be in knots for the 4 days that I'm gone. I'm going to do what I can, but it would almost be like, okay, 4 days, go. And then when I get home, I can at least have a week to recover and then go back to that. And it's just so rough, like on the body and just everything. So
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that wasn't like, we had originally come up with this idea for people who are on the go. Like we have like the little flat pouches. So a lot of oatmeals are selling it in the cups, which are great because you can add hot water to the cup. But we wanted it to be like people who are want to travel. Like you can only fit 2 of those cups, maybe even 1 in a briefcase before it starts getting like a little bulky, Like you can pack a 12-pack in a backpack or a briefcase, no problem. Like we wanted this to be something that you could take with you. Like I have a client in a hotel across the country right now, and she's in like a quarantine hotel. So she ordered breakfast one day, and it was supposed to be vegan, but there was like egg and rice and like all these weird things. And she's like, honestly, thank God for your oats. Like I just ordered room service and like had that instead. And another person messaged us this week and said that their office brought in a bunch of donuts, and instead of reaching for a donut, they grabbed our cacao coconut oats and had that. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But we had to pivot being with COVID. So now we've come out with bigger bags. We just launched these last week. So people can actually have the big bags at home, which brings the price down a bit. And then you can kind of like decide on your portion size. But that was one thing that, we had to kind of switch gears quickly, but it really has worked out, because we have almost sold out like right away, which is amazing.
But so interesting, because in a lot of our consumers, they still do buy the single portion pouches as well. Like you can see that there are some people who do prefer the 8 to 10 serving kind of family pack pouches, but then there's also the other ones who are like, nope, just love the single serving. I don't have to think about it. And again, I can keep them like in my purse at the office, wherever they are. Even if they aren't traveling or on the go per se, people just like to not even think about anything besides just like ripping open a pouch, pouring in water or milk for overnight, or plant-based milk, and just that's it. So the feedback's been amazing. And both types of portion sizes have been,
Which I think is important for like anyone listening who's starting a business, like to have your main vision at the forefront, but also allow so much room for flexibility. Because this last year has taught us that like anything can happen. And, we didn't think we'd be coming out with big bags like this quickly, but like we're like, okay, what are like our vision and our purpose can grow. It can shift. It can still like hold that mold, but we can like adjust as needed. So yeah, anyone listening, just be prepared for that.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, like you said, always have like your vision in mind, and we would never we can't be everything to everybody. And I think it's important for like startups to even realize that. And a lot of our coaches, they tell us that like, you have to be very like, have your segment and focus on that. But we will always be a premium oatmeal product that is very conveniently made. So whether it is in the big pouches, you can just take a scoop and add, instant hot water to make it instant, or your plant-based milk. But the reality is like Chara said, we were early, we're young, and we're nimble. So we had to pivot, and we're still premium, but now we can kind of get to both categories, I guess, of the consumer, especially during COVID.
Mm-hmm. So cool. I love how intentional, number one, the brand and product is. I mean, you can see it just from your packaging, the flavors, but then just in chatting more with the two of you and really understanding kind of that more of the why behind your brand. It's just so intentional. You can feel the love behind it. And as a consumer, I so honor that. So thank you. But Chara, you mentioned I think it was the Cacao Coconut is one of the flavors. I'd love to know what all the flavors are, and then maybe kind of the intention behind those specific recipes that you both developed.
Yeah, so we did the Cacao Coconut. So cacao, of course, has tons of antioxidants. It really supports energy, and then magnesium. So this one was kind of geared with the fitness goer more in mind, someone who can has perhaps a bit of like a sweet tooth after, which one of our biggest compliments has been like people have said it's just sweet enough because we only added that little bit of coconut sugar. And if people want to add their own honey or dates, I mean, like by all means. But so there's that one with the coconut. So lots of healthy fats in there to help with that satiation. And then we did raspberries. So we use locally sourced freeze-dried raspberries, and we blend them so that the flavor is really evenly distributed throughout like each bite, which is great. And that's kind of like more of like a lighter berry citrus one. You can go you can add nut butter, or you can go yogurt. You can kind of go like both ways if you want to make it a bowl. And then I think a fan favorite so far is the blueberry cinnamon. So we use locally sourced blueberries and blend those up with cinnamon. And then we had to have like a cinnamon in there, just such a classic breakfast flavor. And that one as well, you can add yogurt. We've made like muffins with it. We've made energy balls with the Cacao Coconut one. So if you want to have it as oatmeal, you can, but we've also experimented with like baking and like adding it to smoothies and stuff like that. So each day can be a little bit different.
Oh my gosh, so fun. Do either of you have a personal favorite of the three?
Blueberry cinnamon for sure.
Yeah, I think it depends on the day. Like sometimes I do want like a chocolate coconut like muffin or something with like you can add like grated zucchini and stuff in there, make it really healthy. And then some days like the raspberry one is so refreshing. But for where we are in Canada, in Vancouver, it's been like really dark and rainy. So that blueberry cinnamon is just so comforting. So that's been my go-to lately.
So cozy. I'm so excited to try them myself. So I'm really excited to jump into kind of the highs and lows and just some different lessons and things, especially, I mean, on top of launching a business, first year is exciting enough, let alone in a global pandemic. But first, as we're talking about the recipes and your ingredients, your branding, the artwork is so gorgeous. I would love to know just kind of where that inspiration came from, as it's so cool. I was even showing my husband last night. I was like zooming in on your Instagram so you could like fully see everything, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I wish we could say we just like ripped it off. It took a long time. I went through like 200 versions of branding, and like we got some labels printed and we were so excited about them. We like put them on jars and stuff, and people were like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful candle company. We're like, okay, switching directions. So like it's a lot of trial and error, and we went through a couple like graphic designers. And then it was, and this kind of goes with like the big lesson is I did the labels, like I did the graphic design, but I kept on wanting to hire someone. Like I didn't trust myself to be able to come up with like something that would be like look great on shelves. So we hired someone, and then we kept on going back to the drawing board, and like, thank God for Vivi's like, no, you can do it. Like, she's like, you're just as talented as any of these people that we've hired. And that was just like a big, like, trust yourself learning process. And we wanted something like the name's Out of the Ordinary. Like, this isn't your regular oatmeal. And we didn't want it to look like a regular package. Like, we wanted to add in things that, really made it jump from the shelves and speak to what it was. So each of the graphics in each of the flavors hold a purpose. So we have like the elephant there for like strength and energy. And then there's like the banana leaves, and there's coconut and raw cacao. And it's insane with like the blueberry cinnamon. So the cinnamon has flamingos, which is, the bird of balance, which the cinnamon helps balance your blood sugar. So everything holds a purpose in there, but it was so fun creating them. And I'm like so excited to do our next flavors whenever that will be to do that. But branding is something that we're still truly working on. Right before this call, we're looking up new ideas on like we're just trying to find like our brand's voice still. Like we know what looks really, really pretty and aesthetically like beautiful when you go to an Instagram page, but we also want to like keep playing into the name of standing out. So, we're still learning, and the brand itself is an entity and it will find its way, but
evolve for sure.
Yeah.
So fun. I love that symbolism. Again, it's just so intentional. So
it's funny because we've had people say like they didn't want to throw the package away. I mean, the package is recycling, and we're going to be like, we love to switch to compostable packaging eventually. But people have a hard time even like throwing the pouches away, and because they're so pretty, and
they are.
So yeah, that's been a struggle, but a good one.
Oh my gosh, I feel that. You guys need to have like big posters made or something really pretty because it's truly gorgeous. Everyone should definitely go check it out. But to that point though, what were some of kind of the biggest learning lessons and, growth from last year? Obviously we touched on the recipes, the branding and packaging design. What was anything else that you guys experienced?
I think those two, to be honest, the recipes, the branding, which like Chara said, it's going to be evolving, and it, always kind of move through and kind of like, but I don't know. I feel like production was a little bit hard, getting a co-packer, and because our product it has so many different densities to it and weights within the product the ingredients, and just making sure that it mixes properly. I don't know.
There's a really big shortage of co-packers on the West Coast here. So trying to find one has been tricky, and we didn't want to do it out of our kitchen. Like that's not where our time is best spent. And that's like another lesson that we've kind of learned is, there's so many like little projects and temptations that will come up when building a business and a brand. But it's like, how are Vanessa and I going to like, get our mission out there if we're busy in the kitchen making these things every day? Like we went into the kitchen and we made the first round, which like we're so grateful for that we were part of that process. Like we've been a part of every single process. Like we still ship the goods out ourselves and we do all our own marketing and everything. But, we are looking to get more narrow on where our talents are best used. And I think that's been really, really cool. For Vanessa and I, like about partnership, we are the perfect partners, like just hands down, like her strengths are my weaknesses and vice versa. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why. And so we've been told by other businesses that like why we're excelling so quickly is because we really have our own lanes and like they complement each other so well.
Wow, that's so beautiful. How has that been just going from friendship to business partners? Was there any kind of inner growth in there for the two of you and your relationship, or do you feel that it's just really been super fluid?
I think it's been very fluid.
Yeah, we've been really lucky. Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would learn so much about myself when starting a business. Like I knew I would learn a lot about business, of course, but like just within myself, I quickly learned that I'm more of a team player. Like I had my holistic nutritionist business before, and it was great, but I just never really it was hard to be accountable to myself, which I think is normal. Everyone needs sometimes you need that external factor. And then when I got into a partnership, it was so nice to just talk to someone every day, bounce ideas off each other and to be each other's sounding boards. Yesterday on the phone, I just called Vanessa and I was like, I think I just talked to myself with you on the phone for 45 minutes. I was like, sorry about that. But that partnership is so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely balance each other out, which is so great. Mm-hmm. And like she said, being in business before as well, it's so nice having somebody who balances you out. But the content that and just the creativity, I mean, the packaging alone, I have to give her props for that. And I always shout her out to people because I'm it is so hard to create that. And not only is it have we gotten, good feedback, but I mean, we've had people buyers, people in the CPG industry be like, your packaging is great. Who did you use? Or even her packaging supplier who's oh, whoever did your, your packaging, yeah, they did a good job with the Pantone colors and whatever, just making sure that it's good for packaging purposes. And I'm literally that was Chara, which is so amazing. But yeah, definitely. I think it did show me that I am also a team player and I do have my strengths, but my weaknesses would be the creativity side and the content creation side. And that's why we definitely balance each other out.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, it's so nice we just got an order. That's always exciting to see.
So fun.
But it was so nice. Like V was away this last week and she's like, do you mind if I just take the afternoon off and go snowshoeing? And I was like, absolutely. Like, and it's such an amazing feeling when you know that both partners are working equally as hard, but also keeping their wellness at the forefront. Like, it was so soothing that like, yes, take an afternoon off. And there was no animosity, like on my side, like, oh, you're just going to go and have an adventure while I'm here working. Like, we don't have any of that, which is such a blessing because I know that could be a huge issue. Like,
that's the most stressful thing is having somebody who you don't know, like, are they mad? Are you walking eggshells with them? Like, are they feeling like, they're kind of sitting at their office being like, oh, I'm fulfilling orders and she's out there on the mountain, It's like, we don't have that. We're so open. We're so transparent. And I think any relationship in life, whether it's like friends, family, a business partner, you have to make sure that you have that comfort level and that there's that transparency and genuine, like, they just want you, communication. They just don't think badly of you. They just want the best for you, and that's what Chara and I is like, taking the afternoon off, as silly as that is, it's very much needed. And when she has to do that, then I kind of pick up the slack as well. And I just love that balance. And I couldn't imagine being in a partnership where you didn't have that.
Yeah. And we also take time to like go on like a snowshoe together or go out and do like a walk together. Where it could be like, okay, Thursday afternoon, like, let's get out into the wilderness and let's just like be creative, or let's go out and like not talk about business and just like work on our friendship and like have fun. And I know it is when you're this passionate about, like, it's supposed to be like 5 minutes of like, how was your day? Okay, business. Like, it'll transition quickly. But we have like a big presentation coming up on February 25th we're in a business accelerator group. So we're presenting to like a bunch of investors and buyers and all the things. So we booked as soon as that finishes, we're going to go away for the weekend and just like go and relax and kind of revel in the hard work we put in. So I think taking care of ourselves mentally, like with that aspect, has allowed us to have that open communication, has allowed us to like work harder and faster, which I think millennials are really cluing into this. I think that like Gary Vee kind of rise and grind attitude is, and I'm sure it serves thousands of people. I know it serves thousands of people, but you're also going to most likely experience like burnout. And Vanessa and I are in this for the long run. So like if we have to take a couple hours off of work to get right, but that means that the next week that we are so focused and we're so in it and we're able to show up fully on these calls and be able to do what we need to do, then like by all means, like that's what's working.
Yeah. Like we try to make sure we get 8 hours of sleep because it's just so important to do that where you can work, those hours that you are present at work and whatnot, which I know there are long nights, of course, but for the most part, we try to make sure that we do prioritize our health, like our nutrition, our sleep, getting out in the sunlight when Vancouver has sun, which is rare, but just making sure that we have that because like Chara said, like we don't want to burn out. And the worst thing is for your body to start giving out on you, which I experienced that. And like I said, I took 2 years, almost 3 years off of my whole life in general, because I really could not function at all in the day-to-day activities. And that is happening more and more. And I think, that whole mentality of like, you're up, you're the first one up and like taking pride and not, getting even 6 hours of sleep. Like we don't live like that and it's not sustainable. So having a partner on the same page who's not like the rise and grind, who's like usually working 18 hours every single day. It's like we do have those long days, but we also know that we need the balance.
Yeah. And I mean, but like being COVID, I think we're really lucky to start a business in this time because we're not tempted by social gatherings. Like there's not a whole lot going on. So it has allowed us to put extra time into the work. I think now that we've set that precedent within ourselves, like we'll always be like this. And there's definitely sacrifices. I was telling a girlfriend the other day, like we had like a really, really small birthday gathering and I was, the last one to go and the first one to leave. And I was like, I feel like I don't feel good about this, but I also know that, your friends are there to support you. They understand that the journey you're going through, it doesn't always have to be like that, but like you got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, like you can't let other people's energies affect you. Like, you show up, you be present for that little amount of time, but then sometimes you just have to get back to it on a Sunday. Like that's what it calls for. So that's why that whole health and wellness thing is so important to implement it when you can.
It's so, so important. What types of, maybe what is part of your own wellness routine and ways that, but obviously taking time off, spending time together for your relationship, but maybe on individual or other kind of like wellness areas, in what ways do you kind of balance out or even stop yourself if you've ever found yourself kind of falling into that hustle mentality, because it is very easy to let that masculine energy kind of creep up and need to rein it back in.
Totally. Even like this last weekend, I really wanted to work on some branding stuff and like dive into it. But I knew if I did that on Sunday evening, I wouldn't be able to sleep Sunday night. And then Monday, I'd be starting off the work week really, really tired. So sometimes I have to force myself to just either like write down my ideas and then take the evening off, try not to be on your phone. And I think we're both just such big fans of walking. We both walk like every single morning and every evening. I think it's so relaxing. And whether you're listening to like a podcast or music or whatever it be, like relax or walking has been huge. And then I also have a boyfriend who is constantly taking my phone out of my hand. So, that helps.
I don't have that. I need to get better at the first thing my alarm goes off and I like roll over and I grab my phone to like start on emails, which is the worst thing because then like there'll be some emails sometimes that are like very pressing. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get on my computer and email. And it's probably the worst thing. But I think walking, like Chara said, is great. I will not even put a podcast on a lot of times just because I don't even want to think about it. I'll put music on and just like go on the seawall. But I need to get better at not looking at my email first thing in the morning and right before I close my eyes at night. So it's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard though. I mean, I definitely fall into that habit myself. So yeah, it just kind of takes time. It's interesting too how you say, not even wanting to really put music or a podcast on. Because I've definitely felt that too in looking at kind of cycles of myself. Whenever I feel like I am almost overstimulated, I then kind of hit those periods. Even right now, I think especially with COVID, of just spending so much time behind a computer and just entertaining conversations digitally and things. When I go on my walks too, I'm a huge walker as well. I love them. But lately I've been feeling that need to just like fully disconnect and just have that pure peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think breathing is another big one too. Like not even meditating, like that could be your thing as well, but even just being conscious of doing, 10 minutes before you go to bed or in the morning of just that, deep through your nose, breathing that truly throughout the day. A lot of people don't even breathe, which is, really not good. And I think just making a point to do that has been the last couple of weeks, to be honest, has kind of changed a lot of my state as well.
Yeah, especially at night, like your brain has been going all day. If you like, whether you're reading a book or just trying to like empty the brain, that's been definitely a struggle. I've really noticed like my thoughts wake me up in first thing in the morning, and then it's like once I'm up, I'm up. So it's been interesting trying to develop, like, not that we don't have bad sleep habits, but what can we do to like empty the brain? What can we do to make sure that when we are sleeping, like there's no lingering thoughts that are going to keep us up? And that's definitely like something that I'm working on right now.
Cool. I love that. So we spoke a little bit earlier about your customer reviews and some of the feedback and things you've gotten, which were just so heartwarming. But I would love to know maybe a little bit more about kind of like the empowering moments of starting your business, or even what it's been like every time you get a sale or you receive that really heartwarming message, just how that has been fueling you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's amazing. Especially when it went from having friends and family order, which is amazing. The support that we received has just been awesome. But then going to people who we have no idea, they don't know any of our friends or family. So there's no kind of connection there at all. And then, of course, for friends and family who have reordered, which a lot have, because they're like, I did it to support you, but now it's such a life changer, for my morning routine. And I just love them. So that's been so amazing that we did create this product to kind of serve a purpose. And that is, for people who are busy, for people who have a lot going on. And it doesn't mean that maybe you're working 10 hours a day. You could just be, of course, like a busy mom, which is probably more than 10 hours a day. But even somebody who just has other hobbies or other interests, and their interest really isn't cooking, they can make overnight oats, but they don't have all the ingredients in there. They don't really care to go buy the chia, the flax, the cacao, all that, and kind of mix it together. Some people love that. And we just wanted to serve a purpose and give people something, again, that was healthy, tasty, and convenient. And so the feedback when we have kind of achieved that goal, to hear that has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. A lot of our coaches and other people in the business space, the consumer packaged goods space, can't believe how many people repost our product,
Yeah.
which is so cool. Like we get so many tagged in stories and stuff every single day. And, you know, we respond to every single comment, every single DM, because if you've taken the time to shout out our business or like comment on our photo, like you better believe like we're going to respond and thank you, because that truly means the world. Like that's how our product gets out there. And as like, it's just the two of us on this team, you know, we're doing everything we can to get our product out there. And with like the help and support of people around us who are enjoying it and making it part of their lifestyle, like we feel, I mean, it's so humbling. Like it feels so good to be like sitting here talking about it.
It's so incredible. And it just shows too, like, again, I keep going back to the intention behind your product, but I do believe that because of those repostings and just everyone's feedback about it is because like we truly can, you know, energy is everything, and you can feel the energy that's been poured into a product that has such genuine and just authentic passion behind it. So
absolutely. And I think like this whole support local movement has been so supportive of that. Like even as business owners, the way that we shop now, the way that we order things online or like look in grocery stores has totally changed. Like I will never bat an eye at shipping costs ever again. You know, now like the amount of times I've abandoned cart because I've seen like a $10 shipping fee, but like, you know, that the company is paying for that shipping out of their pocket, like that's part of it. And that's something that we really realize is really, really tricky. But I would rather spend a couple dollars like extra supporting these local companies who, you know, like their heart and soul is pouring into it than like some huge companies like everyone loves Amazon, you know, but like they set the standard for free shipping, and that's really hard for small business owners.
And not only that too, but you have these, you know, these competitors like the Bob's Red Mill or the Quaker or the Nature's Path, and people can be like, oh, like, and we 100% get it. Like our prices don't even compare, but of course our ingredients don't compare either. But, you know, we will one day get down lower, you know, but you have to look, these companies have been in business for years. They have the money, they have scaled. And, you know, their cost of goods is a percentage of what ours is, you know, and the thing is that we wanted to create those big pouches because it's the ingredients are for sure premium, but the actual labor and the packaging into a single portion, you know, type product that people don't understand or have to realize that is a lot of money that goes into that. So of course the convenience comes from it. So they will pay a little bit more, but yeah, you know, we're not doing this like raking in the money, you know, we wanted to create a product that was attainable and people could afford it with still being premium.
So. And we're on a mission, you know, we want to make healthy eating more attainable for busy people. And like, that's like been the driving force, and it's just happened to like be through a food product.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I so look forward to the day where, you know, I think the more stories like this that we can get out there is so important, especially because it's just so easy in the fast-paced lives that we live to like, because of Amazon or other companies that have given away, because they are so big and they can do these free shippings and things like that, you forget that like where the money you're spending, where it's going. It's always just this like, oh gosh, you know, it's almost as if like the world is against you mentality, instead of knowing that the money that you're spending is going into further supporting people's dreams and businesses and shipping costs. And that, yeah, when you're starting from somewhere, there's a price to pay, and especially for convenience as well and healthy ingredients. And it truly matters. I just think it's so hard until you like fully experience it. And same with even like changing up your lifestyle and everything like that to fully comprehend just where the other person is sitting. So I definitely look forward to, as we shift into more of that, just oneness for all mentality and really understanding that it's all circulating is really what it is. So.
Absolutely. And we haven't even talked about our give back mission, which it was so important to us. Like as soon as we started this, there's still so many kids like in the States, of course, and especially through Canada, that aren't getting access to breakfast at all, period, before school.
30% of kids in Canada alone do not go to school with breakfast, let alone even a healthy breakfast, because you know, do get to eat in the morning.
Yeah.
And you kind of think of some like developed country like Canada or the US, and you think like, that seems quite high, and COVID has definitely made it so much worse, but it's a real problem. And the ones that are getting food, like I said, it's not quality a lot of the times, especially not in school. And, you know, that determines your whole day, like your learning activity, your health, everything. And if you're constantly thinking about being hungry, your body is in that constant stressed out state, you know, how can you really develop as a human? So that's something so important to us, that we just want attainable, healthy, you know, meals to get to children. And it actually started for Black Friday. we did like a give back. So for every 6 pouches sold through our e-commerce website, we're going to donate one meal to a child in need. And so we just got so much feedback from so many people saying like, I loved your 15% off, but I really did this because of that aspect. And so we decided to keep on doing that. And now that's become part of our purpose and part of our mission.
Cool. I love that so much. So what does the future look like? Or maybe what is your vision for the future kind of as a collective, but then also as a company as well?
Definitely. Well, this year the focus is retail. We want to be available like in a lot of different retails across Canada and the US. But as a brand, we have a lot of like innovative product ideas, new flavors, of course, further supporting our give back aspect. And like eventually like, we want to have our own team, which would be amazing. But like we're also staying super flexible. Just we've got this big presentation coming up, and like what happens after that, we don't know. We have a little bit of an end vision, but also just taking it day by day and like really, really, really enjoying the process.
Yeah. We do know that we definitely want to really like focus on the Vancouver, West Coast market. So really become a household brand, within Vancouver and the surrounding major cities. And then, like Chara said, we don't know. We might expand across Canada, or we might actually just go down, to maybe start in California or in LA and maybe go the West Coast of the US. And again, shipping, like she touched on, for like a lot of listeners, we don't have the flat rate shipping like the USPS does. We like shipping to Texas is cheaper than shipping to Toronto. So it's just for us, like that is a huge thing. So we're like, what is the next step for us to go to push that retail, the brick and mortar and the online stores? Is it maybe going to the US? The market entry is a little bit, actually quite a bit cheaper, or is it, going across Canada? And like Chara said, we don't know what's in store. Mm-hmm. All we know is that we want to saturate this market and then go from there.
Love that. So you mentioned with the kids not getting breakfast and things like that. And then we spoke about before, just all the unhealthy ways to eat breakfast and things like that. Why is it so important for whether it's children, individuals, etc., to eat breakfast? We'll forget maybe the ingredients behind it, but why breakfast?
Mm-hmm. I think, intermittent fasting is still a really big thing, and we're, totally support that. I think everyone should have at least a 12-hour window just to let their digestive system take a break. But you don't want to go too long, especially if you're working out in the morning, and that could be like a whole other podcast just on that topic alone. But we wanted to make sure that your first meal of day, and this actually goes back to what you're saying about traveling, is how you would get on a plane and you'd eat something that doesn't necessarily feel good, and that's how you're starting your vacation. That's kind of how this started, where your first meal on that plane is a healthy one. Therefore, you want to keep following along that train. You want to keep supporting because you feel good. You want to keep eating healthy, eating good. So when your first meal sets the tone for the day, you're going to follow in its tracks. You're going to keep on you're going to say no to that sugary muffin. You're going to say yes to the salads and the greens and the plant-based meals, or veggie focused meals. So for us, creating that first meal of the day and making that attainable was huge. And that doesn't mean it has to be at 6, 7, 8 in the morning. I eat my oats at 11, that's just when breakfast falls for me. So the timing of it doesn't matter. It's more of, the ingredients that are going to set the tone for the day.
Cool. I love that. And in what ways you kind of answered this a little bit, but for each of you individually, has eating breakfast maybe shaped your life, or even just eating those really high quality ingredients, such as the ones that are in Out of the Ordinary?
Yeah. So for me, I know Chara likes to have a little bit later, but a huge game changer was eating within half an hour that I woke up, and not really going more than 8 hours without food, because my blood sugar, just health issues and whatnot, the cortisol and the stress that my body would start going into when my blood sugar wasn't kind of stable. So that, to me, the last couple of weeks I've actually done this, where within half an hour I eat breakfast. And then I don't even have coffee until at least half an hour after my first meal. So by 7, 8 a.m., I'm trying to get 400 or 500 calories. And that's been a huge game changer for me personally. Again, everybody's so different. I think it's so important to listen to your body. But sometimes too, when people they might be listening to their body, but your body's kind of getting accustomed to maybe not feeding it too. And some people deal with that, right? So they're maybe not hungry, but their body's just kind of in that higher stress state. So it's kind of turning off the hunger hormones just so it can kind of accommodate you. So for me, that's been a big switch that in the last 2 weeks alone, I've noticed a massive difference.
Cool. I love how individual we all are as well. You both made note of that, and it's so important, but it's also just so refreshing too, just to even hear things that everyone is doing differently. Like, Chara, you don't eat until 11 a.m. and that works for your body. Whereas you actually, Vanessa, eat breakfast before your coffee, which most people don't. Most of us are coffee first, then breakfast. So even just that switch up, I love that.
Yeah. It's not a hard and fast rule. Like, this morning I woke up and I was a little bit hungrier. So like I listened to my body, it's not like, cause I've done that for years where I had like to get that 16 to 18 hour like fasting window in, and then I ate and then I would overeat because I waited so long. Like, you have to listen to your body. It's giving you signals for a reason. So like whatever works best for you. But the main point was like to create this product with ingredients that will keep you full so that you can stay focused, So once you have that oats, whenever that is, you'll be full for hours and you won't have to get up and interrupt your day because, we believe like the people enjoying this product have huge purposes and are, contributing a lot to this earth. And like with the work that they're doing, it's like you got a lot of work to do every single day. You don't need to be getting up and snacking. Like, we want to support your lifestyle and your mission as well.
Or people who are really busy, like my dad. He runs a company. He's always so busy. He just won't eat, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like something like that, like having something in your desk or whatever, and being able to just pour hot water into it. And like Chara said, whether it's 6 a.m. or 11, like the fact is like we do need nourishment, right? And having oats that you can literally eat instantly and that tastes good, you don't need to add anything to it. I mean, you can if you want, and that'll satiate you, is what we wanted to do. So we wanted to just make that attainable for anybody. Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what they're doing, but to have something that's healthy be attainable.
And I want to take like the fear out of eating carbs as well, especially like not simple carbs, complex carbs like oats. I think a lot of people, like myself included, again, Spence, like we were both, so health conscious and we're under such strict like eating regimes that's how we kind of came up with the product idea, because like there was nothing out there that met our high health standards. But, for someone who like just lived off of green smoothies and it could have no fruit in it and it just had to be all greens, but I would be so hungry after and I would just be like, I wouldn't get any work done because I wasn't focused. All I was thinking about was food. And then when I started switching over to oats and being like, okay, that there wasn't that many greens in like my first meal, but then I would have like my like lunches and dinners are so veggie filled. But I've also accomplished so much more throughout my days because I'm someone who works out in the morning. Those carbs are like what I need to feel fueled and to like replenish my muscles and like be focused for the day. So I would love to take the fear out of complex carbs as well.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I remember a time in my life when I would work out in the mornings because I love mornings are my like sacred time. But I really wasn't eating hardly any carbs at all during that phase of life. And I would like need a nap after my morning workout and I would feel so exhausted come 10 a.m. And then once I finally let go of some of the rules and restrictions and starting eating carbs again, it was like all my energy came back. And like you said, instead of sitting there just feeling like all I could think about was food. And it's so true. Like food was always on the mind because my body was just so hungry. So grateful for carbs, complex carbs.
And so many of these studies, like the intermittent fasting and the keto and stuff, they're all like so much of the testing and research is done on males because with females, like with our cycles, there's just too many variables. I say that in air quotes. So that like
they try to do women and then they stop because they're like, oh, this isn't working. So they go back to doing just testing men.
So I think that's why amenorrhea, like when you lost, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but when you lose your period is becoming so popular because women are doing all these like crazy fad diets that just aren't meant for women and they're losing their period and their hormones are so out of whack. That's why you see like so many podcasts talking about trying to rebalance your hormones. And I swear like eating complex carbs and a balanced diet and having that stress lowered. So you're not like, because a lot of like the loss of your period is because of the front part of your brain. And like, that's like where your stress lives and like your body's in that fight or flight mode. So it's shutting down. So, you don't want to reproduce. You don't want to be productive.
For sure. You don't want to reproduce because, and it turns out your reproductive, system because it's thinking, it can't decipher between you're just like intermittent fasting because you're like, this is the new trend, and again, if it works for you, that's amazing. But for some people, like I was that person who was trying to get that 18 hours too.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is in this constant state of stress and it will shut everything off that it doesn't need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many, like Chara was saying, like we have gone through these journeys where, I'm so glad we have both come to on the other side so much happier and healthier and less stressed about eating because both her and I, that's one thing that we can kind of align with is that we were so hard on our bodies. We were so hard on, what to try, what we thought was right, because this expert was saying this is what you had to do. Mm-hmm. And just the stress of constantly thinking like, oh my gosh, is this going to spike my blood sugar? Am I getting too many calories? Am I getting enough calories? Mm-hmm. You could probably go and eat a burger and be way healthier if you just were chill about it. Mm-hmm. Not giving people to go and like gorge on fast food. But I mean, the reality is when you're putting that much stress on your body, it doesn't matter what you're eating. It doesn't matter how many green juices you're drinking. Your body is not going to like you. Your digestive system is going to be out of whack. And both her and I have struggled with health issues because of that a lot. Because of that.
Even the other day, like we were talking, we're like, isn't it so nice that we've come to a point where we can go to a restaurant with our friends and like have something to eat and be okay with it? Yeah. Like the years that we spent leaving family gatherings and friend get-togethers, like just so grumpy because there's nothing on the menu that we could eat, again, on air quotes, and like, it was just such a frustrating time. And now that we've let loose more than 80-20, like we're very, very still health conscious, but we leave room for those date nights and those nights that we can go and indulge a little bit. And like, do our bodies look that much different? No. Are we so much happier? Oh yes. Way, way happier, way more relaxed, like digestive system, all the things, hormones, like just so much more balanced. So yeah, just like another way that a lesson that we had to go through to be able to get this product out there. And
it led us to developing Out of the Ordinary for sure. Mm-hmm.
So cool. I love that. You both are so incredible. For anyone who's listening and wants to connect further and get some oats themselves, where can people find you?
Yeah, so we are on Instagram, Out of the Ordinary, as well as Facebook. So definitely find us there, and then outoftheordinary.com. So come and check us out. You can buy online. We ship to Canada and the US. We are also in several retailers in BC, and then we just got Chara Market, so it should be there any day. And I think Chara is Canada and US wide. But yeah, honestly, just on our e-commerce website, we ship duty-free to US and then all across Canada. And we have free shipping over $75 Canadian for both of our customers in both countries. So
yeah, we always have super fun newsletters. We're not about spam. We're doing IG lives every week with other business owners where we really go behind the scenes on starting a business and partnership and all the things. So we have newsletters kind of like announcing that, and we do fun giveaways and surveys and stuff. So, and we also try to support people who are supporting us in turn. So if we have like an ambassador who just came out with a really new fun like at-home workout, we're going to share that with our community. So we want to make sure that every newsletter we're sending out is providing valuable content that you are going to use. It's not just like some discount and then like, hey, see ya. That's something that we're also really proud of, is like we set a really high standard for the community that we're developing as well.
Yeah.
Cool. And again, your packaging is beautiful. So even if people just want to see pretty things, highly recommend. Before we close out here today, I love to end all of my episodes and conversations with some loving your own soul questions, as I say them. And it's up to you too. If you want to both answer them individually, I'll kind of let you both intuitively pick as we run through them. But we were talking about earlier just how fluid your business has been between the two of you. And I would love to know, if you're familiar, what your human design types are.
Oh, that's so funny that you say that, because I recently got back into this. Like it was something I found out like through almost 30 and thought was super cool, and then kind of just like fell off the map. But my best friend's just become like certified and is doing like sessions with it, and had a session with me. And I am a projector, and I have just found like diving into human design has given me so much permission for characteristics in the way that I am, in the way that I work, that I once thought were flaws. And I've just realized like that's just me as a projector, and like how to really use them to my advantage instead. So I've really been loving it, and like highly recommend if sometimes you just like feel a little bit of lost in that sense, then it's something to dive into. And there's so many people out there and I'm happy to pass along my girlfriend's information if you want to do like a discovery call where you kind of get the hang of it. But yeah, I found it, and a lot of corporate offices and workspaces are using it now, which is really cool for their employees. But yeah, I love it.
I don't know mine.
It'd be interesting to pull yours. I'd be surprised if you weren't a generator or something, just because how well you both work together, which is cool. And yes, definitely send me your friend's information. We can link it in the show notes of this episode. It's so fun. It's such a beautiful science, just the like validation that you get from it. It's so cool. Do either of you have a favorite animal or even a spirit animal?
I'm such an animal person. I Oh my gosh, what did I think it was like a lizard. I pulled like a wild animal card last time I was with the girls in San Diego, and then I've always been, that's kind of like my character. Like if the sun's out, I'm like a lizard. I'm like in the sun, laying around, and that was always like one. And I always see them when I'm out for runs or something, not in Canada, but like on vacation. That was one that was always like stuck out. But I just love, and like I love elephants. That's my boyfriend. Yeah, like majestic cats are as cool. But yeah, I don't have one that I like. Actually, that is funny you asked that. I saw a raccoon this morning, and I see them everywhere, and I was like, maybe this is my new spirit animal.
I mean, we are in Vancouver.
Yeah, they're like squirrels around here, yeah. So who knows? But yeah.
It's so fun. We'll have to look up the symbolism behind a raccoon. Love that. What are some of the weirdest or craziest wellness trends or products that you've both tried?
Everything.
Yeah, been through the ringer.
Oh my gosh. I think just trying everything.
Yeah.
Just looking for that answer, which I do not. I mean, I think you should always be researching and looking and like seeing what works for you. And for sure, I think science and, like studies, that's very important, but always searching for that quick fix or that next thing that's going to complete you is like the worst thing you could do. And I have done it. Everything.
And it's always going to come back to balance in Whole Foods. That's like the funny thing is we spend so much money trying these different cleanses and buying like these boxes. And then at the end of the day, like the pendulum just swings the other way and then the other way. But like if you eat a whole, like balanced Whole Foods diet,
then 8 hours of sleep and sunlight.
Exactly. Then you'll achieve results. And like, that's the crazy thing about so many people in like these body fit, like competitions, the bikini competitions. I mean, power to them. They have willpower. Like it's insane, but you often see them years after and they cannot lose, like they gain a ton of weight and they can't lose it because their body was restricted for so long and now they grab onto the fat and your body doesn't want to let go of it. So like it's just another example of why like just balance is going to be key, and that's going to be like the longevity for your health and wellness goals. And like if weight loss is your goal, it's still going to be that, it's just like move your body a little bit more. And
I think when you leave that, like you lose that stress, your body will just release it. When your body is not in that fight or flight, your body knows it doesn't have to keep that extra kind of pad in because, when you're in danger and you can't eat for, say, days at a time, when it thinks that you're safe, it'll just release it. And whether that's your paleo, vegan, we don't really like to go, like, we just like to say plant-based. Like, I do, right? Like, to subscribe to everything, we want to be a product for anybody. Really just people who, put their health as a priority. But once you start doing that, whatever kind of way you're eating, your body will just relax and it'll just kind of release everything and not just weight, but again, like your hormones to balance and your fatigue will kind of start dissipating, just so many different things. Yeah.
The poor body, such like tender creatures. I always hold like so much compassion for our bodies.
Yeah.
What are your favorite or even just go-to morning beverages?
Lately, I've been boiling ginger, turmeric, and then having that with lemon juice. And that's been my go-to with a little bit of yerba mate, like the tea leaves. So it's just like a little bit of natural like energy and kind of cleansing. And I sip on that every morning. And yeah, it's either like some variation of that.
Yeah, I try to do water with like a little bit of either like fresh orange juice or coconut water with electrolytes, a little bit of sea salt. With lemon, get that, and then have breakfast. And then I love coffee with, just some fat, some salt, and a little maple syrup, and then like some oat milk or something like frothed up. And
big coffee lovers.
Yeah, big coffee lovers. But in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Such a ritual behind coffee. It's the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, final question that I ask all of my guests. When did your exploration to diving deeper into your own soul first begin, and how has it evolved since then?
Oh my gosh. I would say 2017, 2018 is when things started really shifting. I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease after like 8 months of really struggling, not knowing, and them doing like the saliva test and all these different hormones and everything. Finally got diagnosed, which was a relief, but then also it was like the journey just kind of started. And I think through going through my journey of finding what was working for my body to heal my body, that's kind of when I just started to be very open with all of this. Yeah, I feel like when you go through the hardest times of your life, which I definitely did, I feel like that's the most growth that happens. So I'm so grateful for the hardship that I went through. I don't wish it upon anybody, but also I wouldn't be here sitting beside Chara, having a company with her and doing what we love every single day and not even making it feel like work because of the struggles that I went through. And my life is a complete 180. I'm a 180. Like my whole personality is what I feel like is important in life. And yeah, I mean, you probably have witnessed my transition from when you met me, where my life was so different. Oh my God, my priorities were different. Everything was different. So
yeah, it's such a beautiful transition to witness and to like make it work for you. For me, I think it was 2016. I had like almost like a breakdown where I just remember sitting at my couch one day and just like bursting out into tears and just being like, I don't want to feel like this. Like I don't feel like myself. I'm not happy. And my boyfriend's like, you haven't been happy for years. And that like hit me so hard. And I was like, I need to get out of here. I need to change the location and like just go do some work. So I like hopped on a flight to Mexico to go to a retreat like a week later. And it was supposed to be 1 week and it ended up being 3. And just being away, I didn't tell really any of my friends, which, you know, kind of came back to bite me a little bit. Like they were upset, but in that moment, I'm such like a giving person. I'm a caretaker. And for once I was like, I need to just not tell anyone or let anyone know what I'm doing. Like I just need to do this for me. And even though like my friends were so supportive, but just like more hurt that I didn't go to them, it was one thing that I was like, I just need to be off the map for a little bit, like have no accountability. And that was like the first time that I really started like appreciating my body instead of trying to get out of it. You know, it was like the first time like I touched my stomach, and it was like the first time that like I had a conversation with myself, and I like picked a place that had no gym because I knew if there was a gym in town, like I would find it. Yeah. So it was, anyways, It was a beautiful 3 weeks, and I came back, and it's so funny that you asked, because even this weekend, my boyfriend's like, is there anything you learned from the retreat that's still standing today? And the way that I talk and treat my body still stands. That was like a huge pivotal moment for me. And that was the beginning to being like a much healthier, happier person.
Yeah, I saw her, I think, a week after he came back. And yeah, she was different because I didn't even know she left, which I was not upset by.
You're like, why are you so tan?
Yeah, like weird. But yeah, no, she just seemed so much more relaxed. And like, again, going back to that whole your body and that fight or flight, she just came back and had very minimal to no stress. And it was, you could tell instantly.
So beautiful. It's so amazing just how much you can tell in those situations, whether it's illness, internal distress, just all the things. It's ever evolving. Well, you two are so beautiful. Thank you so much for holding space here today. I'm so excited to just watch the growth of not only the two of you, but your company, Out of the Ordinary, and just continue to follow your success. I truly feel that you've just gotten started on such an incredible venture. So exciting.
Thank you, Britt. And thank you for holding these conversations. I think they're so important in this day and time. And it's so amazing to see like young people like yourselves, like us, who are just like making time and space for this, because we know how important it is and how many people need to hear it.
All right. That was so fun. Aren't these two just the best? I absolutely love them. Their passion is just, it's incredible. And their brand, Out of the Ordinary, again, definitely go check them out on Instagram, follow them, shout them out, go to their website, order some oats. If you do decide to order some oats, definitely make sure you use code Loving Your Own Soul at checkout for 15% off of your order. And again, that is Loving Your Own Soul in all capitals for 15% off your order over at Out of the Ordinary. And one last thing, do be sure to enter to win one of my moon cycle oracle card readings for the month of March by simply subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. Plus, you will get a bonus entry if you also share your favorite episode with us on Instagram or Facebook. And of course, be sure to screenshot your proof and send it to me as your entry on Instagram at Loving Your Own Soul, or email lovingyourownsoul@gmail.com. Thank you again for tuning in and being a part of this community. I so look forward to continuing the journey with you again soon.